Today, I want to talk about how I made $139,000 my first year as a complete beginner on Etsy. And yeah, you heard that right. $139,000 my first year on Etsy. And the wild part is I had absolutely no idea what I was doing when I first started. It was actually my first attempt at doing anything creative other than the doodling I do of mushrooms all over everything when I'm bored. And when I first started my Etsy shop, I wasn't some e-commerce genius or anyone who had any experience in marketing whatsoever. I was actually a mom who worked in a corporate Wells Fargo office, who was up late at night scrolling on her phone, wondering, can I ever make any money online because I need to escape this 9 to 5. I need to retire early and I need to take more family vacations. Because although my personal life was wonderful, spending 40 hours a week working a job that I hated was not gonna cut it. But everybody said Etsy's too saturated, you are not gonna make it, and so I believed them for a while. But what I didn't realize then, and I'm oh so aware of now, is that success on Etsy, Amazon, or even starting your first business, it is not about hacks or SEO, although those things are very important. It is actually about your mindset. Because you see, two people can follow the exact same path and use the exact same strategy. And one ends up making 6 figures and the other one quits. Now, trust me, because I know this very well. I was in a coaching program with hundreds of other people, and only a handful of them made it to the $10,000 a month club. And the difference was that one person believed that it was actually going to work out for them, and the other one didn't. They believed all of the naysayers who told you that Etsy was oversaturated. And so that is what I'm diving into today. Not just how I made $139,000 in my first year on Etsy, but how shifting my money mindset made it possible in the first place. Hi, I'm Chelsea Wells, and as someone who grew up with a massive poverty mindset that followed me into adulthood and sabotaged everything that I built, I know how critical a strong money mindset is to building the business and life that you want. And on this channel, we talk about all things money psychology, building a business on your terms, and pivoting boldly in your 30s. Now, let me give you the short version of this story. When I started my Etsy shop, I was so terrified of failing. I heard all of the horror stories about not being able to stand out, not being able to be found on the homepage, it being way too crowded, and me just wasting my money, which at the time was the scariest thought for me because I carried so much scarcity thinking from my childhood. So I did open my shop, but I half-assed it. I listed a few things, but not too much. I didn't promote it. I refused to invest too much money. And worst of all, I didn't believe. Because deep down, it wasn't Etsy that I was doubting, it was myself and my own abilities. And then one day, I just got so sick of my own shit because I hated my job. And I realized I was the only one who had the power to change my outcome. And it made me realize that I needed to do some really deep reflection to understand why I was holding myself back. And what I realized was that it was deeper than a fear of failure. It was actually about my own deservingness. You see, I didn't believe that I was deserving enough to have everything I wanted to work as easily as the Etsy guru said it would be. And that is poverty mindset at its best. It is the part of your brain that believes that you have to struggle for success. And so what I did to address this deep-seated problem was actually a process that was new to me at the time. I had never ever tried this before, but I decided to use self-hypnosis and a lot of reflection to reprogram the way that I thought about money. And it wasn't easy at first, guys. The real work never is. But it was so important to clearing out all of the bullshit that was blocking what I wanted to do with my life. And within just a few weeks, I finally felt confident enough to go all in. And the very first thing I did was invest $3,000 into an Etsy coach. And that was a decision that the old me never would have made. And thank God I did, because it ended up being a moment that really started to change everything. And so when people ask me how I made $139,000 on Etsy in my first year, they're always expecting me to lay out this step-by-step strategy for them. But honestly, and I will go to the grave with this, the real work started before I even had my first sale. Because once I finally decided that I was worthy of success, I was worthy of having what I dreamed of, that is when my brain stopped fighting me and allowed me to do the work. And so in that moment, I stopped playing small and could actually go all in on the strategies that I was learning. I went from let's see if I can make this work to let's make this work. And that is the energy that makes you take bold, consistent action. And if you're still living with one foot out of the door like I was, that is not a strategy, that is self-protection. And self-protection often keeps you broke or stalled at a safe place. And you cannot make quantum leaps from your safe place. Okay, now that we've talked a little bit about the foundational work, which is the mindset you need to do to prep yourself for success, let's talk a little bit about the tactical strategies I used as well. So once my mindset was behind me and it was cheering me on instead of holding me back, these are a couple strategies that I used to help me skyrocket my business while still keeping it manageable. The first thing that I did was I found one product that worked really well. And at the time, I was selling personalized gift baskets for babies. The second thing I did was diversify it. I took that exact same product and I sold it in multiple different ways, different size variations, different color variations, different personalization variations. I even sold some just as the basket with the personalization and others as gift basket. I even broadened my customer base. So instead of just selling to babies, I also sold to dogs and people who were getting brand new puppies. And the third thing I did was I invested in equipment that would make my production time so much faster because wealthy women buy back their time. And the fourth thing I did was I started asking myself, how can I serve my exact same customer in different ways so that they keep coming back to me? Because the easiest customer to acquire is the one that you already have. And here's where I start to sound a little bit like a broken record because I never would have done any of that if I hadn't have fixed my mindset first. Because the old me constantly convinced myself that I couldn't afford to invest because investing that $3,000 in a coach meant less vacation that year. It meant taking away from my early retirement. It meant not putting additional extra cushion into my savings. And that scared the shit out of me, even though I could afford it. You see, the problem is when we have a poor money mindset, we don't think rationally. My husband and I had enough income to do it all. We were doing really well for ourselves, and we had already built up an FU fund. But I was so scared of everything being taken away from me that I didn't want to take the chance. Because we're not always rational when our brain is filtering through fear. And that is why money mindset is so important. Because a wealthy money mindset filters through possibility instead. So if you're still sitting here thinking it is too saturated in whatever business it is that you want to start, I want you to remember this. It is not the saturation that stops you, it is the hesitation. Because there is enough room for you when you believe that you belong there. And that is how I made $139,000 on Etsy as a complete beginner, simply by deciding that my story didn't end with I can't. So if you are ready to start uncovering your own money blocks, the ones that are keeping you from starting your own business or from growing the one that you already have to the next level, I created a free 20-minute guided hypnotic meditation just for you, and it is called Expanding into Wealth. It is designed to help you connect with your inner wealth identity and finally feel safe earning more. Along with the meditation, I've also created journal prompts to help you integrate the shifts, and you can grab all of that in the links down below. And if you're ready to take this work even deeper, then download my free Empire Rich Playbook to start designing your dream business and life today. Limiting beliefs are not welcome here. And if you want one-on-one help applying any of this, then book an Empire Rich Clarity call with me in the link down below. I'll help you uncover your money blocks, create bridge beliefs, and walk away with a personalized action plan. And don't forget to hit subscribe so that you'll never miss a mindset shift that could change your business. Because success isn't luck, it is mindset plus evidence. And it is time to build your empire.